Hello and welcome to the Weekend News live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. I am Lima Peters Macaulay. Coming up in this edition, an indigene of Kaine district, Jibila Kamara, declares his intention for the forthcoming paramount chieftaincy in Sandam Mabolonto Chiefdom. The 50-50 group Sierra Leone holds 11th annual Rajiv Bendre Women in Public Life lecture series. And President Bio meets with representatives of 17 registered political parties at State House. All these stories and more lined up in this edition of Weekend News. An indigene of Kaine district, Jibrila Labe Kamara, has declared his intention for the forthcoming paramount chieftaincy election in the Sandam Mabolonto Chiefdom, Kaine district. He did this declaration at a ceremony held at the chiefdom in Kaine district, northwest region. Ibrahim Samara now reports.
10 candidates have declared for the seat of Paramount Chief in the Sandam Mabolonto Chiefdom in the Karune districts, including Jibrila Labi Kamara, following the illness of Paramount Chief Brahma Sanda Suri IV in 2016. Jibrila Kamara is contesting under the Kamara ruling house. Addressing hundreds of his supporters and traditional authorities, Mr. Kamara assured them that if elected, he will fast-track development in the chiefdom. He promised working with the government and development partners to construct the major bridge linking the chiefdom and other chiefdoms. Mr. Kamara called on his people to vote for a candidate that will foster peace, unity and development, which he said he truly represents. The district officer Karune District, Abdul Alex Kanu, and director of local government, Almami Kamara, stressed the need for a peaceful chieftaincy election and admonished inhabitants of Sandam Mabolonto Chiefdom to remain peaceful. They urged the candidates to be preaching peace and non-violence messages in their campaigns. Chiefdom authorities told the candidates that chieftaincy is to promote peace, unity and respect among their subjects. They urged them to also maintain law and order and denounce violence among their supporters.
British and UN conservationist Dr. Jane Goodall has accompanied the mayor and other administrative staff of the Freetown City Council on a journey to making Freetown green by planting trees and flowers to form gardens across the city. The 85-year-old environmentalist has spent most of her lifetime studying chimpanzees, and the rainforest was instrumental in discovering the Takugama Chimpanzees Sanctuary, the first and only place in Sierra Leone that keeps rescued chimpanzees. Patrick Sellier now reports.
Sierra Leone, and Freetown particularly, is poised to reintroduce itself on the world tourism stage, but with most of its beautiful flora and fauna artificially forced by unabated lawbreakers into extinction. What used to be a very rich biodiversity of Sierra Leone's capital, especially the main water catchment hills, is now replaced by the almost naked brown soil in the rapidly growing but poorly planned residential communities. Dr. Goodall's presence in the country comes at a time tourism, conservation and sustainability are taking top billing on the agenda of both the Freetown City Mayor and President Julius Maada Bio's New Direction administration. The planting of these trees draws a link to conservation and sustainable tourism, but Dr. Goodall suggests that the trees should not be clustered.
You can never have too many trees because every tree is absorbing carbon dioxide and taking that gas out of the greenhouse gases that trap the heat of the sun and cause climate change.
The Freetown municipality has a 50% environmental targets to meet by 2022. That environmental management is under the first cluster, resilience, in the Transform Freetown program. And the FCC Mayor Yvonne Akitsoya told me the planting of these willow trees is just symbolic with the massive exercise underway.
We've set ourselves a target to increase vegetation cover in Freetown by 50%. So by 2022, we should have 50% more trees, grass, shrubs than we did at the start of this process. And so planting these trees here, as Dr. Goodall says today, is symbolic. It's just the start of what we're doing. On the 20th of June, we're going to be having a huge tree planting exercise closer to the rainy season because we want to make sure that what we're planting has the greatest chance of success. And we're not working in isolation.
Like caring for a child to grow up well, the planted trees need to be kissed. But solid waste is, however, still dumped on the streets and in streams, blocking the drainages and waterways, thereby adding to the risks of flooding. The absence of an adequate waste management system has caused cholera and dysentery among other water and foodborne diseases, largely attributed directly to the sanitation gap. The health costs associated with such health conditions can represent more than one-third of the income of poor households, with increasing demands faced by the Freetown City Council for services, which in turn is constrained with finance for essential services. But the journey to transform Freetown has only just begun.
The Political Parties Registration Commission, PPRC, has ended their community engagement on the popularization of a Memorandum of Understanding with three political parties, the Sierra Leone People's Party, the All People's Congress Party, and the National Grand Coalition. The signing of the MOU amongst the three political parties was ahead of the rerun of the by-election scheduled to take place on the 9th of March 2019 in Masuntu, Ward 196, Constituency 058 in Tonkolimba, Chiefdom, Cambia District. Marama Suma reports.
On the 29th of September 2018, the National Electoral Commission (NEC) conducted a by-election for the position of a councillor in Masuntu, Ward 196, Constituency 058 in Tonkolimba Chiefdom, Cambia District. The election was as a result of the death of the councillor in Masuntu of Ward 196, Constituency 058. After his death, NEC declared the seat vacant, which gave the right to residents in that constituency to contest for the position. However, the conduct of that election was interrupted by electoral violence and malpractice, and also led to the death of a 14-year-old boy. Head of Outreach and spokesperson for the Political Parties Registration Commission, Lucien Momo, said people of that locality are scared of what will happen come March 9, the day for the rerun of the by-election, owing to the fact that one of their sons lost his life following the violence that took place last year. He added that the popularization of the MOU will also serve as a confidence building for the people, as he fears that most people will not be taking part in the election due to fear.
The rationale in coming to Masuntu today is to popularize the Memorandum of Understanding signed by the three political parties and the election key stakeholders, ahead of the rerun of the by-elections, which is scheduled for the 9th of March 2019. Before now, the people of Masuntu, were very jittery about what will happen come March 9. And listening to radio yesterday again when I came to Cambia, I had some people saying on the 9th of March they will leave the township and go to the villages, so they will not take part in the election. So it's just like some sort of confidence building, so that the people will have confidence in the process and they will come out to exercise their franchise.
Some of the agreements in the MOU was that the three political parties shall collectively and actively promote tolerance and condemn any act of violence and intimidation by their supporters before, during and after the polling day. That staff and members of the National Electoral Commission shall create a conducive environment and a level playing field for all contesting parties. The security sector should ensure they enforce the ban on the display of secret society during and after the election. Meanwhile, all three political parties endorsed the MOU and promised to work towards the MOU. Umaru Dumbuya from the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party and Kamo Kaba from the opposition All People's Congress Party had this to say.
You know, the first thing that we thought about was, you know, the large presence of high political profile people. You know, once they are around, that it starts instigating people, you know, into doing the wrong things. So we have decided, I propose at the PPRC that we should have only one high-profile person to be here, and we will abide to it because we believe that if that's what's going to bring peace and reduce the tension, I think it's going to bring peace in this country.
You can also observe how panicky and how solemn the town is. The little boys are running helter-skelter, afraid that they have come again. This is the kind of situation we have subjected our people to through election rivalry. As a party, we decided to come back into the rerun after the timely intervention of the PPRC and other key stakeholders. But this time around, we want it to be very different. Let this one be an example of by-elections and general elections coming hereafter. We want this to be peaceful, we want it to be quiet, we want it to be fair, we want the people of Masuntu to have the right to elect who is going to be their councillor in the next 4 years to come.
Meanwhile, the presence of the team in Masuntu Tonko-Limba chiefdom hasn't changed anything. The chiefdom was empty when we arrived, and only few members of the community people attended the engagement. The rerun for the by-election is scheduled to take place on the 9th of March 2019. SLBC News, Mariam Asuma reporting.
Honorable Member of Constituency 115, Alpha Amadou Ba, and various youth organizations in the Wellington community on Saturday cleaned the Wellington Palmer Street Cemetery. Before the intervention by Honorable Ba and other stakeholders in the community, the cemetery had been in a deplorable state with massive encroachment by nearby residents. Ibrahim Samura was there.
Hundreds of youth from different youth organizations in the Wellington community, including the aged, clergymen and local authorities, trooped in to clean the Wellington Palmer Street Cemetery. The initiative of cleaning the cemetery was spearheaded by Honorable Alpha Amadou Ba of Constituency 115, together with councillors from the different wards. Before their intervention, the cemetery was an eyesore with massive encroachment by surrounding residents. I was told it served as a meeting point for thieves at night. The cemetery has not been cleaned for many years. Residents in the community told SLBC that if the cemetery is fenced, it will minimize the illegal activities going on at night in the community. During the cleaning exercise, residents lauded Honorable Alpha Amadou Ba and team for taking the bold step to keep the cemetery clean. They underscored the need to give respect to the dead and that the cemetery is the final destination for all mankind.
I was so thrilled, and I thought it's a good initiative, which this is a time for us to see the reality, for obligation, to pay respect to our people, those who have passed, and those who are yet to come.
Over all the sub-communities in this area, and it's very strategic and it's very, very important. It's one of the biggest cemetery we can think of in this constituency.
The residents called on authorities in the constituency to fence the cemetery to address the problem of encroachment from thieves. Councillors from the various wards and Honorable Dr. Umfa Suri Kuruma of Constituency 114 said they are pleased to join Honorable Alpha Ba and the various groups to give a facelift to the cemetery. They pledged their unflinching support towards the fencing of the cemetery. Honorable Alpha Amadou Ba of Constituency 115 said the move to clean the cemetery was a result of persistent concerns from his constituents and nearby communities. He told the gathering that he will construct the perimeter fence of the cemetery, pronouncing that he had secured some funds from indigents at home and abroad.
Myself, together with all of these political stakeholders and with other stakeholders in the community, we've decided to launch a community self-help project to finance the fencing, the perimeter fence of the Wellington Palmer Street Cemetery. So, and on that note, I have on my own personal behalf pledged the sum of $1,500 United States dollars, which is already available towards that project. I have also gone ahead to solicit funding from two sources, one of which is the Wellingtonian organization, which is based in the United States and in Europe. They've also pledged and committed the sum of $1,500 United States dollars. Equally so, I also contacted Dr. Mohamed Tunde Makati, who also committed to ensure that wherever these projects will be taken to, he is ready and willing to support the complete fencing of this project.
According to reports, the Wellington Palmer Street Cemetery is one of the oldest in the municipality and has been in existence since colonial days, used by the British to bury their loved ones. Abraham Samura, Freetown.
President Julius Maada Bio has met with representatives of 17 registered political parties at State House. The meeting, according to President Bio, was to update them about the latest developments in his first 10 months in office. The meeting also allowed the politicians to interact with the president and other related issues of national development. Hawa Mosiri reports.
Honorable Mohamed Sidi Tunis told President Julius Maada Bio that he had engaged heads of various political parties.
I have been engaging with a cross-section of members of the registered political parties, especially the leadership of those political parties. But as usual in politics, there has always been a time where the leadership of the government will meet with the registered political parties for better understanding and collaboration.
President Bio told the representatives that he was pleased to meet with them, although politics is now over but working towards the development of the country. He said the dialogue meeting is just the beginning, as they will be meeting frequently to discuss on issues of national interest. Though the Sierra Leone People's Party is in governance, but they should not relent in contributing to national development.
As we may have different pathways in terms of prescription to the development of this country, but the truth is, none of you sitting here will ever say, I want the worst for this country. You want the best for this country. I have my own prescription to get that best. You have your own prescriptions. And so definitely the goal is a better Sierra Leone for us all. Which means we have to be talking. Which means we need to, the ideas that we don't have, the experiences that we don't have, we can share. Because variously, I believe that coming from different walks of life, you've acquired certain experiences that you can bring to the table. So we are here to begin to talk, and this is just the beginning. We will engage more substantively later on in terms of ideas, in terms of how we see our country and what we can do together, even though it is not your party, it is about your country.
At the end of the meeting, political party representatives had this to say about the meeting with President Julius Maada Bio.
We have decided that the best progressive step is for us to understand that we have a shared destiny in ensuring that there is peace and stability in the country, to create the enabling atmosphere for development. And the fact that the initiative for us to meet as registered political parties with His Excellency has gone a long way in creating the atmosphere of trust, which has been significantly absent. Trust in the sense that we have to believe in this commonality of interest in protecting the welfare of our country.
We believe Sierra Leone belongs to all of us, and we should be seen coming together to ensure that we move the country forward. The responsibility is not just with His Excellency, it's with all of us. All of us have a common objective, which is to see how we can improve Sierra Leone. And if he is in charge today, we should be giving him support to enhance that process.
Definitely be having a lot of these meetings, a lot of these consultations, so we could all move the country forward. And it was very friendly, relaxed atmosphere, and certainly one that has been long in coming. But there's a promise that it will be a continuance, and the views expressed, we all were on the same page, all the political parties, and we want to show the public that indeed we are all one.
It was a very good meeting. We went together and we discussed, issues surrounding national cohesion and how we can come together, showcasing leadership to our people. That elections are over and it's time for us to develop our country. So it was a very good meeting, and we were really allay of any fears. The doors are open between us and the president, and we will continue to work.
Very successful, as it appears the family Sierra Leoneans have met today. I mean, all political parties together with the president. The speech of the president is very motivating, encouraging all of us to put on together for development of the nation. And that is very important for us. And the way I see what from the president's speech is going to make a score and a mark in this nation, because it's tolerating everybody to come together as brothers and sisters for national development and cohesion.
As you rightly said in the opening statement, we all want betterment of this country. There is nobody who will wish bad for this country. It's just that we all have different prescriptions. So he called us today as political parties to hear our own views and listen to us directly. And the discussions were very, very much fruitful. They were very, very much good. And he has promised that he's going to nurture this and he's going to continue engaging and consulting. We are necessary, we all collaborate to move this country forward.
I think it's the right foot on the right direction which the president has decided to take as a leader of this nation. So I'm very much happy. And the meeting has been very fruitful enough. We had a series of issues to discuss that are bordering on national, challenges and other things. But I'm happy, and it has been a successful meeting.
SABC TV News are in Freetown. Hamasure reporting.
World Hunger Healthy Sierra Leone has presented 6 key professional profiles to the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs and other stakeholders of the tourism sector in Sierra Leone. This is in line with the organization's Skill Up project, with the aim to sustainably enhance youth employability and improve for self-employment in Sierra Leone through knowledge and action. Soriba Samara reports.
The Skills Development Project will pick up the opportunity of following up and promoting greater impact of the projects implemented in the past since 2004 by the other World Hunger Healthy projects in Sierra Leone. The project comes in handy, the National Project Coordinator of World Hunger Healthy, Miriam Koroma, says, at a time when the world's attention is directed towards skills development.
The Skill Up project is a project that have been implemented in different countries, not only Sierra Leone. But in Sierra Leone, we work in different regions, not only Freetown. And now we have been working in the tourism sector, and we cannot work in the tourism sector without the involvement of the Ministry of Tourism.
She added that there are some youth that have competencies that need to be upgraded, adding that the Skill Up project will help this category of young people to improve on the skills they already have. The partnership between World Hunger Healthy and the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, says the Deputy Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, William Kongati Robinson, may not have come at a better time than now, as it would ease the work of the tourism sector.
Tourism is growing, and as it's growing, a lot of developmental skills are coming. And they want to import those skills into our own staff, and into our tour guides, into our resort managers, into our bookkeepers, receptionists, etc., etc.
The country director of World Hunger Hilfi, Ursula Langkamp, highlighted that the project is one of 11 projects undertaken by World Hunger Hilfi in Sierra Leone. For them, it is important because it caters for the middle-level manpower, which category of the human resource of Sierra Leone is lacking in skills for development. This kind of project is not only relevant to the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, but also to other sectors of government, says Director of Tourism, Mohamed Chalo. He noted that the youth of Sierra Leone can only be fully empowered when their God-given talents are worked on, adding that it was prudent on the side of World Hunger Hilfi to have thought of the tourism sector. The workshop attracted hotel owners and the Sierra Leone Association of Hospitality. Soriba Samora, Freetown.
A one-day panel discussion on the topic, women's empowerment and the fight against domestic violence and gender equality, has been held at the Mass Communications Department, Robe College. The panel discussion, which was organized by the Foundation for Women and Children's Empowerment, calls for the harmonization of gender laws in the country. Doing by reports.
As the issue of domestic violence and gender equality continues to be a topic for discussion, each of the panelists carefully discussed and took their time to explain how domestic violence affected the lives of women and girls, calling on the media to report cases of gender and sexual abuse and the need to harmonize all gender laws. The panel discussion was in line with President Bio's declaration of the state of emergency on gender and sexual abuse. Barrister and solicitor Julia Blow said that in 2007, 3 gender laws were enacted to protect the rights of women. She cited the domestic violence law as an instrument that clearly describes the forms of violence against women and girls. She said that there are contradictions of the gender laws which quickly need to be looked at. Former Member of Parliament Honorable Bernadette Lahai argued that sexual violence is not committed accidentally, adding that perpetrators take their time to plan, study, and sometimes do extra favors to the victim's parents. She said that laws are not good until they are implemented. The head of communication, EcoBank, Anna Fuller, and Deputy Director, Quality Assurance, AYV, Fabian Swill, spoke about the role of the media in reporting gender violence and sexual abuse, and went on to say that it is vital to have a media development plan. They said that perpetrators use gender and sexual violence as a means to getting the victim submissive, have full control, and take advantage of them. They stated that there is no justification for rape. Therefore, people should stop using dress code as a factor responsible for it. The head of policy and planning, Sierra Leone Police, Mira Koma, said that a culture of silence by certain people to report and compromise cases of gender and sexual violence hinders the work of the police force. The moderator of the panel discussion, Dr. Isata Maoi, spoke about the negative effects of gender and sexual abuse on the growth and development of the country. She frowned on gender equality, calling for the promotion and protection of women and girls at all costs. Dr. Mahoy lauded the venture and effort of the brain behind the panel discussion, which she said is a step in the right direction.
The Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, together with the Directorate of Science, Technology and Innovation, has engaged MDAs to map out ways for the inaugural annual STEM Social Salon Conference, scheduled for the 4th of April 2019. Rose Kunma Stevens reports.
STEM Social Salon is inspiring students and communities by providing them with the requisite tools that will connect them with science subjects and industry careers which are readily available now. The organizers of the program are encouraging women to study science, technology, engineering, and mathematics careers. Head of Public-Private Partnership Unit, Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary School Education, Abdul Karim Saw said, the content is designed to bridge gaps between the STEM industry and education by going beyond the lecture room. It will be influencing the values, interests, and lifestyles of Sierra Leoneans. He maintained that STEM would encourage students to not only take up the sciences as a career, but to also maintain the skills.
We all know science, technology, and maths subjects are very important if we're going to move this country in terms of infrastructure development. We need more engineers, we need more technologists, we need more women in STEM careers, and the only way we can do that is to bring all MDAs on board, bring all stakeholders that are doing some bits of STEM, science, technology, engineering, maths, in one space as a collaborative, so we can have a huge impact in changing the landscape in terms of technology and innovation in this country.
Project Manager STEM Dr. Daniel Adrian Stevens explained that the concept is to make sure President Bio succeed in the area of encouraging students, especially women, to study the sciences, thereby giving a boost to the free and quality education.
How many people are actually going for engineering? Few. And guess what? That's where the money is. And that is what is going to help the development of our beloved country, Sierra Leone. We all want to be enlightened. We all want to be rich. But we have been lacking the most important resource, which is quality education. And this is where the new government is actually playing its role in ensuring that this free and quality education is being implemented in our beloved country.
STEM, he went on, is important for the advancement of any nation, emphasizing that science adds value to not only education, but the country's economy. He therefore encouraged all students, especially women and girls, to study the sciences for sustainable development. Ministries, departments, and agencies at the session promised to collaborate with STEM Social Salon to provide improved technology that can add value to the country's economy. They noted that science teachers and lecturers should motivate their students offering sciences and not discourage them to shy away from the subjects. For SLBC News, Rose Konima Stevens.
The Minister of Finance, Jacob Jusu-Safar, and Country Program Officer, International Fund for Agricultural Development, Patrick Jefferson-Bao, have signed an $11.8 million agreement for the implementation of agricultural value chain development. The project aims to increase income for smallholder farmers through the promotion of agriculture as a business. The signing ceremony was held in the Ministry of Finance Conference Hall, George Street, Freetown. Esther Mai Samura was there and now reports.
Development is part of government's priorities and development agenda. The project will work primarily with farmers' organizations, service providers, and small and medium enterprises in the rice, cocoa, and oil palm value chains through crop diversification to enhance nutrition and create alternative income for people and disadvantaged households, with the largest share of the budget devoted to rice production in the inland valley swamps. Before the signing of the Agriculture Value Chain Development Project, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Food Security, Joseph Danema, expressed profound gratitude to the Ministry of Finance for their assistance in articulating the Agriculture Value Chain Development Project, which he said has been specifically designed to address the issues of production and lack of adequate rice production in Sierra Leone.
60% of this project is going towards rice. Of course, the other percentage is going towards other food crops like tree crops, cocoa, coffee, cashew, and of course also the aspect of capacity building. The Ministry of Agriculture is set to organize the implementation of this project.
Minister of Finance Jacob Jususafa commended the International Fund for Agriculture Development for their continuous support in the development aspiration of the country. He said the government is committed to the development stride of the nation, maintaining that the project will ensure the increase in rice productivity.
This project will benefit over 4,000 direct beneficiaries in the 16 districts of the country, and focus activities where the climate and ecological conditions are favorable for smallholder producers to produce cocoa, well palm and rice. Let me also advise on the effectiveness. And whatever is required to be done for the project to be effective, signing is one, but getting the money on the ground is two. We have collective responsibility to make sure so.
Country Program Officer of International Fund for Agriculture Development, Patrick Jefferson Bao, said devoid of the $11.8 million United States dollars agreement being signed, IFAD will be making another additional financing of $40.8 million United States dollars available to the project under its 2019 to 2021 funding window, which could be approved by IFAD Executive Board in June this year. Esther Mai Samora, SLBC.
The Right to Access Information Commission, RAIC, has held a press conference to remind MDAs about the proactive disclosure scheme deadline. The Right to Access Information Commission was established in 2013 to make information available by increasing the supply of open data. Another mandate is for civil unions to access a wide range of information from the government and its agents, with a few exceptions like national security and personal information. The event took place at the Kutan Road office in Freetown. Wilmina Boku filed in this report.
The Right to Access Information Commission, Honorable Mustafa Brema, explained that since the establishment of the commission, little has been heard about the commission, and they took the opportunity to have formal engagements with the media. He said they rely on the media for the commission's success, and they will continue to engage them so that people will know about the commission. Honorable Mustafa Brema noted that little has been achieved in the commission because of many reasons. He said since the constitution of the commission in November, there are now new commissioners and staff.
There is no hiding place for anybody in this country. There is openness, there is now open society, that you also have the right to ask for information.
Chairman Right to Access Information Commission, Dr. Ibrahim Shiga Shaw, said this is the first press conference they had since the commission was reconstituted. He opened that they have a very big mandate and they are having support from the World Bank, and that in December they organized a public disclosure forum, during which time active disclosure of information scheme was launched. Dr. Shaw explained about the components of the law that governs all public authorities and the immediate support of the development of the publication of 10 pilot ministries and agencies was put into action. He delineates the 22 minimum classification of information that is supposed to be provided by ministries, departments and agencies. At the meeting, there were 80 participants, amongst them 40 from MDAs, non-state actors, and civil society organizations. Dr. Shigaso said during the forum they notified all MDAs to submit their proactive publication schemes to the RAIC on or before the 1st of March for approval. Failure to do so will incur an invite to the RAIC tribunal and will result into penalty.
The scheme itself is consistent with the new government's new agenda, new direction agenda, which is kind of more based on promoting transparency, accountability, and good governance, which is very, very important, you know. And by implementing this law, so that was why, in fact, why the forum launch itself, we invited most of the MDs were represented there, and the workshop also, as I said just now, most of them were represented there.
To implement this law, they need the collaboration of the MDAs and the media to spread the message. He encouraged all MDAs to comply with the 1st of March deadline.
The Minister of Agriculture and Forestry, Joseph Danema, has ended a 5-day walking visit to the International Institute of Agriculture, IITA, in Ibadan, Nigeria. The visit, according to Mr. Danema, was to study available agricultural facilities that could be replicated in Sierra Leone. Francis Bernard reports.
The International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA, is a non-profit institution that generates agricultural innovations to meet Africa's most pressing challenges of hunger, malnutrition, poverty, and natural resource degradation. They have been working with various partners across sub-Saharan Africa to improve on livelihoods, enhance food and nutrition security, increase employment, and preserve natural resource integrity. They also work with partners to enhance crop quality and productivity, reduce producer and consumer risk, and generate wealth from agriculture, with the ultimate goals of reducing hunger, malnutrition, and poverty. IITA's research for development focuses on addressing the development needs of tropical countries, and Sierra Leone is not an exception. The Minister of Agriculture and Forestry, Joseph Danema, recently went to IITA to initiate a dialogue between his ministry and IITA based on several projects lined up by the government of Sierra Leone in the area of agriculture.
Well, my primary purpose of visit is to come to Nigeria through the invitation of IITA, and also to visit facilities which can tell me or inform me of what is available in the sub-region, so that at least we can replicate in Sierra Leone. Something is possible through the private sector investment, through indigenous facilitation, and then because I am really eyeing at youth employment. Youth unemployment is a very big problem in Sierra Leone.
Mr. Danema also spoke about the problems Sierra Leone is facing in the area of agriculture.
The problem is the issue of our planting materials. Okay. We have planting materials that are very low yielding, so you cannot get much out of it. And we have planting materials that are disease prone. Sometimes the farmers plant these crops and they are infested with either weed or other things. So then that is one. Secondly, we have a weak extension know-how and technologies in the country, because over the years the number of extensions service providers within the ministry reduced from 600 to just about 65. We have in the country a research institution attached to the Ministry of Agriculture, that is the SLARI, Sierra Leone Agriculture Research Institute. They have not been able to catch up with what they are supposed to do, the standard they are supposed to attain. So therefore, we want IITA to accompany us to also strengthen SLARI and strengthen the extension services of the ministry.
According to the minister, even though Nigeria is a bit organized in terms of meeting production level in crop and husbandry, also more exposed in terms of new technologies, yet there are similarities between the two countries in terms of agriculture. Talking about implementing some of the lessons learned during his 5 days visit, the minister emphasized on youth unemployment in the agricultural sector and to make agriculture attractive with special preference on cassava.
We need to be a little bit more organized in what we do. Our planning has got to be much more focused. We need not take a lot at a time. All at a time. We need to really prioritize and move with our priorities so that at least we'll be able to achieve record success and move on.
Agriculture must be improved in the country so as to move the country forward. For SLBC News, Francis Bernard in Freetown.
Now for African news. Nigeria have been holding fresh protests against President Abdulaziz Bouteflika's plans to run for a fifth term in office. The 82-year-old president has until midnight on Sunday local time to register for the elections in April. Police have been guarding the offices of the Constitutional Council in the capital Algiers, where candidates submit their files. Mr. Bouteflika said last month that he would run, sparking real protest. He has rarely been seen in public since suffering a stroke in 2013 and is currently undergoing medical checks in Switzerland. He does not have to be physically present to register his candidacy. The Grand Imam of Egypt's top Islamic institution, Al-Azhar, has said polygamy can be an injustice for women and children. Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib, Sunni Islam's highest authority, said the way it is often practiced comes from a lack of understanding of the Quran. He made the comment on his weekly television program and on Twitter. After sparking debate, Al-Azhar clarified that the cleric was not calling for a ban on polygamy. He reiterated that monogamy was the rule and polygamy the exception. Kamaru Usman has become the first African fighter to win an Ultimate Fighting Championship UFC title. He won the mixed martial arts MMA bout against American Tyron Woodley. The fighter, known as the Nigerian Nightmare, dominated the Las Vegas contest for the welterweight title. The UFC is the biggest competition in MMA, where competitors combine boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling and other disciplines while fighting in an octagonal cage. Usman, 31, produced the performance of his career to dominate long-reigning welterweight champion Woodley. He extended his winning streak to 14 and maintained his unbeaten record in the UFC. Now for entertainment news. December every year is a time for carnivals, beauty pageant shows and other entertainment activities. Last year, the indigenes of Grassfield Lumley, in collaboration with Pasande and the West 3 DJs Union, organized a carnival which has now become an annual event. Well, they have decided to hold a carnival and entertainment show in the first week of February till March. Let's now join Mohammed Kinmilan Bangra for more on that story.
For a country to boast of its entertainment industry, few things in the field must be prioritized, like financial support to its musicians, actors and creative people. But most of all, in allowing live activities like live band shows, beach fiestas and carnivals. Such entertainment activities are the result of the Caribbean countries booming up in their tourism industry. In Sierra Leone, December has been the festive season when a lot of carnivals are taking place. But last year, the indigenes of Grassfield Lumley, in collaboration with the Pasande and the West 3 DJs Union, organized a carnival and entertainment performances. It has been an annual event. The brain behind this carnival is a young disc jockey, Samuel Ali, aka DJ Buzo, who said it all started like a joke.
As you know, the DJs were into the entertainment field. One day, just discussing with my uncle, which was the first time at Casino. I said, we have a beautiful town, so I believe we come together, collabo, Sunday, and West DJs. So we came up with this idea and we started everything. Meeting after meeting, at the end.
Participants of this event expressed optimism that next year's will be more entertaining, as they praised the organizers of such an event, especially on their sales. The renowned musician and comedian Aruna Bokari, aka Succulent, is one of the organizers of this show, and his role is to arrange the homegrown musicians, dancers and creative people from the community and beyond for live performances on the event every Friday and Saturday. Succulent said this event is a platform where people in the community and beyond share one thing in common, which is love. He said people love Sierra Leone music so much and really idolize our artists, but are unable to see them in person. So with the performances at the carnival, people are opportune to see those artists in person, which according to him is like a blessing.
Some artists, for them, it's very, very difficult to see live on stage. Mostly they watch TV, especially your show, Music and Mix. There's so many presentations that you've done, and they want to see the artist live in flesh and blood.
This carnival and entertainment show started first week in February and ends on the first Saturday in March. According to DJ Buzo, the show has attracted not only people in the Grassfield community, but also people from Goderich, Hamilton, and even from the east end of the city. He said he wants the general public to know how peaceful the people of Grassfield community are through entertainment. Succulent said as a musician himself, he felt satisfied the way people accepted the artists and their performances and promised that next year will be a completely different story. He said they are planning to erect a structure in the community that will benefit the people. He said that in last year's profit, a tap was built in the playing field to help people fetching water, as water has been a great problem in that community. I was opportune to witness the event, especially the artists' performances, and was overwhelmed with the positive responses and support from the public. I want to challenge other areas that have big space enough to organize such a brilliant program, wherein their homegrown talent will be exposed for the public to see. Until then, I bow down in respect to the Pasane community and the West Street DJs Union for such a bold step in bringing their cultures and talent to life through such carnival.
To end the news, the main point again. An indigene of Kaine district, Jibril Kamara, has declared his intention for the forthcoming Parliament chieftaincy in Sanda Magbolonto Chiefdom. The 50-50 group Sierra Leone has held the 11th annual Rajiv Bendre Women in Public Life Lecture Series, and President Biu has met with representatives of 17 registered political parties at State House. Well, that's all in this edition of Weekend News. I've been your presenter, Lima Peters Macaulay.
Its bottom line, coming up this Tuesday, as Parliament continues the USAIC on the ratification of the Presidential Declaration of a State of Emergency on rape and sexual penetration. Where does this leave the call to address the menace, and what does this mean for the campaigners against the scourge? Joseph Igbende Kapua samples the position of Cheryl Oba, an internationally acclaimed advocate for global education, a girl champion.